Well, hello and welcome to the Blackwater Report. I'm Ken, and before we get to the good stuff, let's do a little bit of house cleaning. A few notes from those that may have actually seen the video. First note is, what's with all the donuts? And are you gonna stop with the donut stuff? Weird. The next note is, are these all jokes? No. Next comment was, please stop. Now what we do in the Blackwater Report isn't always serious. Sometimes we have some fun, we have a few laughs. And some would ask, well, why do you do this? Why do you put out these videos? And the truth is, we like Milton. And this community is growing fast. And there is a lot going on. And as much information is out there and available to everyone, there are still things that happen we may not all know about. And that's why we're utilizing this type of social media for community engagement. And as much as we love Milton and the surrounding area and all of Santa Rosa County, sometimes we in the community, and especially here at the Blackwater Report, we question what's going on. Like, why can't we just leave this building named the Milton Community Center? What's wrong with Milton Community Center? It's a strong name. It's a good name. Milton, that's what it is, right? It's a beautiful park. People are using it. You couldn't just leave it alone. You got to keep changing it. You know, the last time you named it after somebody, it didn't work out too well. So maybe just leave it. Excuse me. Anyhow, sometimes we just want to know why. And sometimes there's conversations happening online that may not make it to the local newspaper. And sometimes we'll bring those to the Blackwater Report. There may be other conversations like your power bill. My electric bill has been real high lately, but it's probably my fault, I'm guessing. And one question we have is, how does the power company calculate my bill? Is anyone else heating their home with sticks? Today's episode is going to be a little different. We're going to talk about some of the local news. And some of the local news we want to get into, we wanted to look out for some sources. What would be the local sources, local to Milton, the Pace area, Pea Ridge, or the surrounding Santa Rosa County area? And we're going to review two today. And the two we have, Pensacola News Journal and the Santa Rosa Press-Gazette. Now, we went down to our local Walmart, and as a grand total of $5.07, this is of course including tax, we were able to get our news sources, with the Pensacola News Journal being $3.49 and the Santa Rosa Press-Gazette being $1.25. Well, let's take a look at these two papers. Now, as I went through the Pensacola News Journal, I wanted to keep an open mind as much as I could. And the first few stories I read, they just seem a bit one-sided. Now, of course, I encourage everyone to find your nearest Pensacola News Journal and pick one up and read it and go through it. And I think you might find the same opinion. One of the news articles we've seen was a cartoon, a cartoon illustration of shrimps and grits. And I wasn't amused, but then again, I wouldn't imagine most of their readers were that amused. You know, it wasn't really my cup of tea to sit here and look through the Pensacola News Journal. I didn't find a whole lot of it it just didn't have that local feel, I guess. It didn't have anything that felt like here in my community that I'm reading articles about my community. There's one about Santa Rosa County's teachers' pay. There was one. But the rest of it just didn't really seem to pertain to me. Now, the Santa Rosa Press-Gazette, I feel, did a little bit better job at getting that local touch. And the one we picked up with the front news article, Step of Faith, where it talks about the imaging being purchased by Liberty Church. And luckily, we got this new Press-Gazette when we picked up the donuts. One thing we thought about looking through these articles looking through the information, we wanted to know who owns these papers, who runs these papers, who runs the Santa Rosa Press-Gazette, and who runs the Pensacola News Journal. We did a little bit of research, and here's what we come up with. Now, our little bit of research did yield some results on the Santa Rosa Press-Gazette and the Pensacola News Journal. I even brought my notes. So, Santa Rosa Press-Gazette seems to be owned and operated by Sandpaper Publishing. Sandpaper Publishing has some publishing outlets in Crestview, Navarre, Holly by the Sea, and Milton. They have offices in Crestview, Milton, and Navarre. And ironically enough, all these coastal newspapers are owned by a lady named Sandy. So, local paper, local feel, owned locally. Now, the Pensacola News Journal was a little bit different of a story. The Pensacola News Journal is a part of the USA Today network, which is owned by the Gannett Company, and that is in Tysons, Virginia, about 10 miles away from the DC area. So I'm sure there's no influence there. Now, if you take it a step further, the Gannett Company is actually owned by New Media Investment Group, which is in New York. Now, this New Media Investment Group is managed and controlled by the Fortress Investment Group, also New York. And just a little bit further, we find that even though Fortress Investment Group is owned by SoftBank Group, which is a Japanese conglomerate, that this past May of 2023, the Mubadala Investment Company, excuse me if I mispronounced that, the Mubadala Investment Company decided to purchase a majority stake in the Fortress Group, in the Fortress Investment Group from SoftBank for an undisclosed sum of money. So we don't know how much they bought it for or how much they wanted the controlling stock, what they describe as the majority stake of Fortress, this Mubadala Investment Company. But the Mubadala Investment Company is a state-owned holding company of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. So, between the Japanese conglomerate and the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, I'm sure Pensacola News Journal is just the local paper we're all looking for. Or maybe it's not. Maybe there's too much outside influence from the DC area and from New York and maybe even Abu Dhabi that's being injected into your Pensacola News Journal. I sure hope not. As for the Blackwater Report, we like things local. Do we support local business? We do. We at the Blackwater Report support local business, and we think you should too. So if you're like me, if you have some time, I recommend going to Milton. Downtown Milton is beautiful. You're gonna love it.